I started coming to the Livewell clinic 2 years ago this summer in July of 2016. And I came primarily for my daughter, Kennedy, who was diagnosed probably about a year before that with vitiligo. And so we are from Norwalk, and she was a patient of Dr. Lori Miller's in Norwalk as a general practitioner. And Lori was moving into her position here and had recommended that we might want to look at this clinic for helping my daughter with her vitiligo. So we came to the first session, learned what was entailed, what was going to happen, and how we would go about everything, and got signed up. And initially I started it just to be supportive of my daughter because we knew it was going to be kind of life-changing for her, changing all of her eating habits. So I just told her, I'll just go with you and participate. And a couple months into it, I decided that I wanted to go down the same road as my daughter and have all the tests and really find out more about my health. So at the time I had some severe allergy symptoms, and I also am a cancer survivor. I had thyroid cancer in 2011. So, knew I had that going on, as far as recovering from that. And Dr. Miller had also recommended that it would probably be good for me, as well as my daughter, to start down this path. So I did. And to be honest, both she and I have been doing this now for 2 years. And it's been a great experience. My daughter's vitiligo quit spreading and actually cleared up quite a bit on her face, which is great. She's now 18, so I'm so thankful that we started that process for her at a young age. And I've seen some great results just as far as the blood panels that they take from my very initial one to the one I just had a couple months ago. So we've seen some significant improvements in different things for me. So I guess initially, again, I started just to be supportive of my teenage daughter because I knew it was going to be really difficult for her. But in the end, it's been great for me as well as her. And we're both kind of going through it together and learning how we're alike and how we're different, and learning a lot about autoimmunity and how what I had in 2011 with thyroid cancer, then she got autoimmunity, but it was manifested in a different way, and that was through vitiligo. So, I wish I would have known this, 20 years ago, and I probably could have maybe helped myself even more than what I've done. But very thankful that I've done it here for the last 2 years because it really has changed our lives. Taking control of my own health and doing that through diet and supplements, and not really just taking pills to cure a symptom, but trying to figure out, okay, well, why do I feel like that? And why have I had stomach issues all my life? And maybe why did I get thyroid cancer in the first place? And Dr. Miller's been very helpful in working through all of that with me and working through it with my daughter too. So it's the education piece. But we've really changed how we eat at home. We follow a paleo diet. I'm not going to say we follow it 100%, but we follow it, 80 to 90% of the time. And I've learned different ways of cooking, tried great recipes, and really we've enjoyed it because we've been able to try new things, and we know that it's great for us, and it tastes great, and we don't necessarily miss some of the things that we did get rid of as far as our diet. And I think for my daughter and myself, just learning more about how we can use supplements and what we put into our bodies as far as our food that make us feel better. And when we don't necessarily do that, what triggers some of our symptoms when we don't feel good. Looking at those blood panels and going through that in depth with Dr. Miller. The very first one I took, I was shocked to get it back because she told me I was pre-diabetic. And this most recent one, I finally had my glucose levels back to normal. Now it's taken a couple years, but we got there. So that's been wonderful. And then when I did first start coming here, I had some allergy symptoms and muscle cramps, severe muscle cramps, and some pretty severe allergy symptoms. And so I started the IV therapy, and I did that for one winter about a year ago. And that got me over the hump. And so that made me feel a lot better. And I think that also changing up my vitamins helped with the muscle cramps. Again, that took a little bit longer. And one thing is it's a journey, so it's not going to happen overnight. And obviously I'm in my early 50s, and so I've had a long time to be eating not right and not maybe necessarily doing the things I needed to be doing. And so it took me a little bit longer, and my daughter had success, within the first 6 months because she's young and did a good job of all that. So, but I would say the IV therapy was very helpful. And again, just that the information that you get from those blood panels, I think is very helpful. Initially, I was nervous about how difficult it would be. And there was a big learning curve, I would say, the first 6 months of just learning, how to eat and what to buy and where to buy it. But to be honest, the staff here has been fabulous with all of that. They gave us so many helpful hints for shopping and little tricks and things that we could do. But to be honest, after we got through that first 6 months, I was surprised it's really not that hard to eat a paleo diet and to be healthy and to really pay attention to what we're putting into our bodies and just to monitor it ourselves so that, again, we can kind of be in control of our own health and how we feel. And some of the times when I get the panels back and we're going over it with Dr. Miller, I am surprised. I'll sit through my daughter's appointments, and it's surprising to me too how alike we are. And granted, we're mother and daughter, but then there's some things that were so drastically different. But it's just fascinating to learn that whole process of chemically how your body works and what triggers are and how you can help those to make you feel better. Yeah. So when Kennedy was diagnosed with her vitiligo, it was through our dermatologist, and she had some white spots on her skin, and we thought it was sunspots, and then they diagnosed her with the vitiligo. And they didn't give us, a very good prognosis as far as they're like, well, she's just going to have to live with this. She could try light therapy. There was a couple of creams we tried that did nothing. And they just said that she's going to have this for the rest of her life. So that's when Dr. Miller suggested that we might want to look at something different and look at how she's eating and look at taking gluten out of her diet. And so when we came here, just the amount of information that was shared, a little overwhelming at first, but when you go through that first blood panel, it was amazing to me just to see everything that they checked and how those charts match up as far as what traditional medicine looks at and then what functional medicine looks at and the ranges. And then to have Dr. Miller explain, well, this is why things are maybe out of whack. It's her adrenal gland. It's in my case, sometimes it's I don't absorb minerals well, or and my liver is a little not functioning right. So just the amount of information they shared and the practical tips they give us, and then just trying to do it holistically more through food and supplements. I like that approach, and I like the approach of getting at the cause and not just trying to treat the symptoms. So that down the road, again, my daughter's only 18, and I would hate for her to get something else when she's in her 30s. But now she's more educated, and she knows that if she can continue eating the way she does and taking good supplements, that she might be able to control some of those things that I couldn't when I was her age because I didn't know about it. So. And I think the amount of time they spend with us here, sometimes when you go to the normal doctor, you're in and out in 20 minutes. Here, we'll be here 45 minutes to an hour, and they explain everything, and everybody does, not just Dr. Miller, but the nurses are helpful, the staff. I think it's just very thorough, and they just go through and make sure that you're comfortable with the plan and that you participate in your own plan and do what's comfortable for you and what you feel that you can do, and that's going to be good for you. Well, I've had lots of people ask me about coming to the Livewell Clinic and functional medicine and being gluten-free and all of that, and so is Kennedy. And I'm very proud of what my daughter's response usually is to her friends, because they always are giving her a hard time, and she's like, well, I'm trying to take control of my health. So I think that's awesome that a 16 to 18-year-old can have that response. And I've told people, I've recommended it to friends, as far as if you want a different approach and if you want to be the one in control and have support of the doctors and the staff here, this is a great way to approach your health. I think just the amount of education and information that you're going to learn it just makes a lot of sense. Once you really take it all in, you maybe read some more about it, you talk with people here, it really makes a lot of sense that what we eat and the types of vitamins that we take really can impact how you feel. And so I feel much better about that, because then I can control that. And I know if I don't sometimes, then that's why I don't feel good maybe the next day, and then I just get back on track. And so I just think I become much more informed, and I can try to share that information with others that maybe are not having luck going the traditional route.